Well, welcome everybody to Tuned In with Jim Cummings. Today we have, of course, producer Chris, live and kicking. But wait, there's more. Now how much would you pay? None other than the Bill Farmer, the goof himself, and the crowd went wild.
And the crowd went wild, and it's nice to be here. Good to see you, Jim.
Yeah.
It's great to be with you, Pete.
Well, there you go, buddy. Well, I really had to yank that out of him, didn't I? Well, this is great, man. We're Goofy and Pete together again.
Yeah, this is how it all started, actually.
Yeah, the undynamic duo.
The undynamic duo. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, well, this is good stuff. Tell us all, if you remember the very first time that we met, because it wasn't like it was last year.
No, it would have been in '87, because that's when I started doing Goofy. And January 23rd of '87, maybe it was a show you were on. It was a takeoff on MTV. It was DTV's, it was called Disney's Doggone Valentine was the show.
Wow.
And I had to loop a line of dialogue as Goofy.
That's right.
And it was terrifying. I'd never looped anything to picture before. Normally we just get a script and we read the lines and then they animate later. That was to picture, and I'd never done that. So I was totally terrified.
Yeah, I hate doing that.
Maybe Roger Rabbit. I did some background voices. I didn't even do Goofy in that. It was just at the kind of, Tony Pope was my predecessor on that, but I was doing the voice, but he had to finish out his contract with the movie and finish the scenes. So I did a few background voices in that movie, but I know you were in it as one of the bullets.
Yes, I was bullet number 2.
Bullet number 2, a good
and
way
I
to
was
start.
like 2 or 3 weasels. And I spent an eternity in Griffith Park, and Bob Zemeckis was there, and we're shooting here. Bob Hoskins, the late, great Bob Hoskins, he was there, and he was a great guy. We sat there, and he told me war stories about how he got in the business. And then they cut the entire thing. It was not in the movie.
In the movie. That happens.
So I went from about 40 lines to 3. I think 3 or 4. Somebody in the interwebs will be able to tell us.
And that's what you call is showbiz.
And that's showbiz.
Yeah, that happens more than you'd think.
Yeah, but I did have a trailer.
You did have a trailer.
I did have a trailer.
I'm still waiting for mine.
Yeah, well, it's parked next to mine. They might have moved it. You better, on the way home, you'll have to pit stop over there. Well, that's good stuff. So
no, we started back, maybe Roger Rabbit, and I know the first series we did was Goof Troop.
Oh, yeah.
That was also a terrifying experience going in there, because that was a hell of a cast. It was. At the time, it was like, Rob Paulson, Frank Welker, we had April Winchell, we had Dana Hill, and you, and Jenny McSwain directing. It was like, wow. Going into it, and in those days we did it all ensemble. All of us were in a studio at the same time. Now
Which
it's
we like.
Solo, and you just, how far is Mickey away from me? What's this scene about? And you do your line over and over until they like it. Yeah. And it's not as fun.
No. Well, I agree, because you have to get that interaction.
Yeah.
You feed off each other's energy, and when there's nobody there, there's you got to generate it all yourself.
Then you go, oh, Mickey's 50 feet away. Oh, you're going to say it a little louder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no kidding. It's I don't like it as much, and I don't think they can tell watching.
No, I mean,
I hope not.
It seems to go together flawlessly, I guess. But when I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. Oh, now I get the scene. At the time, it was just doing a line over and over. Gosh, Mickey, where are you going? Gosh, Mick, where are you going? Come on, Mickey, let's go. Or just whatever you do.
Yeah.
And, take 3. I like take 3, and that's what usually shows up in the show.
Yeah. I just did, not a Disney character, but Taz the other day. And it was for a game, and it's just the most tedious thing in the world. Rewarding. They paid me. I'm not complaining, please. But it's like, okay, now Taz is falling 10 feet. Now about 15 and a half feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, video games. Yeah, video games are tough.
Yeah.
Because they always have, did they have Taz screaming, like usually at these kind of things, screaming and at the end?
That's
and they
all
always
he
save that
did.
for the last day.
Yeah, it turned me into a mime. I'm glad I can talk right now. It's like, can Taz mime the scream on the way down? Maybe give the artist something to do?
I'll give you 3 good ones, and hopefully that's it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you start talking like the Godfather.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
go home and just coat the throat for a few days.
Yes, yes. Now, a lot of people out there, and we'll circle back as soon as I remember what we were talking about, but a lot of people don't know that you came from a stand-up background.
Yeah, that was the best training I ever had. I started doing stand-up in Dallas in 1982. It was just on a fluke, a night. I was at a comedy club, and anyone could get up, a Tuesday night, kind of an open mic night. And so I went home and wrote a little routine, went up the next week, March 17th of 1982, and that changed my life. I went up there.
St. Patrick's Day?
Was it? It might have been.
I think it's March 17th.
Yeah, I don't remember it being a St. Patrick's Day. But anyway, it was lucky for me.
But it was lucky.
Because the house comic, the host was a guy, Bill Engvall, who has gone on to a lot of stuff. And he was the house comic there. And he was the first one that said, you know, I think you ought to try this. I think you ought to come back and do this more and more. So I did every week and about 6 months later, I started kind of going around Texas and other states as a stand-up, and started as a middle. Usually start off as a beginner, and then a middle, and then a headliner. But I started off as a middle because in Arlington, well, it was Amarillo, Texas, Sam Kinison was getting kicked out of Amarillo. So they moved the middle act up to headliner, and they needed a new middle act. So I got to go in and do that. And
then you got kicked out.
Then I got kicked,
Yeah, no.
And so I did that for about 5-6 years until, on the advice of an agent in Dallas, they said, you do all these cartoon voices and stuff. You ought to go out to Hollywood and give it a shot. I came out, got an apartment, and about 5 months later, they said, do you do any of the Disney characters? You know, and they liked the Goofy and Pluto, and it's been history ever since.
That's right. That is so cool. Wow, good for you. Well, we have a lot in common because...
We've only been in hundreds of cartoons together.
Yeah.
And rarely ever see each other because of that. Do your stuff at your studio, and they mix it together, but we get to work together a lot.
Yeah. Well, I loved working over it. It was called Fidelity Studios in North Hollywood. And one of my favorite things, and this is, we've had jokes about this over the years, but one time I have to tell you, and forgive me, he's going to throw a brick at me. But Bill walked in, and he was a little bit late. He was coming from another job. Very popular guy. And he comes in, he goes, well, Gorsh, I can't do it. But you walked in, you came, I'll be right there. And you hit the boom mic, and it fell over and hit the other boom mic, which fell into another boom mic. And it went boom, 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 boom. And we all just sat there, and we're just kind of stunned. And I go, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Goofy walked in and knocked over every microphone. No. And, of course, they're not cheap. And the engineer's going,
They don't like when that happens.
No.
So I'll be real careful with this microphone here.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, a couple of things have happened like that. I blame it on what I call the Goofy curse.
Oh, wow.
And absolute true story. I was in a studio once.
I've got another one coming, too. So
and I had Coca-Cola. And I was going to put it down on a table next to the board, and it started falling. I grabbed for it, and I hit the top of it, and it started spinning.
Perfect.
Over the board, over a 96-channel board in a studio, probably $200,000 or $300,000 board, and the engineer was going, ah!
Oh,
and
God.
So that has haunted me for several. Another one, I was putting up Christmas lights, had the ladder against my house.
There's a Chevy Chase moment coming up, right?
Absolutely. There's a goofy addition to this. I stepped off the ladder, and I was in sweats. I stepped backward. My foot hit the riser on the lawn sprinkler. I started falling back into a rose bush. Now, that's goofy enough, but the first rose bush grabbed my pants and yanked them down, totally bare-butted. I fell into the second rose bush.
Oh.
That's the Goofy curse.
Ouch. Unencumbered, but, well, at least you didn't have any protection on your butt, seriously.
It was like the Stooges. My wife was like, pulling out the stingers and everything.
Yeah.
So yes, that's followed me all of these years.
Ouch. That thorn bush or
Goofy's curse.
Oh, I see. The
Goofy's curse.
Well, I remember one time, and we did, and this has got to be in the 90s. We were doing something. It was a charity event.
Yeah.
And Wayne and Rusey, Mickey and Minnie, God rest their souls, yourself, and I was there. I don't recall who else was there. Maybe Tony Anselmo might have been. I don't remember. But there were telephones down in the courtyard there, and it was for children with various maladies, and and they could pick up a phone and talk to Pooh. They could pick up a phone and talk to Goofy or Tigger or Mickey, and they would pick up a phone. And I used to always travel with drumsticks, and I would be, diddy-bopping in, just to while away the time. And you said, well, here, I used to juggle. And Rusey is standing there, Rusey, who was, of course, Minnie Mouse at the time. And you said, well, here, watch this. And you're standing next to the curtain, and it went like this, and you went a little too far back, so you turned around and stepped on the curtain, and that kind of pulled it down, and the curtain fell over you, and then you were on the floor, and then the stick came down and hit, and Rusey Taylor, God rest her soul, was standing there, and I'm pretty sure she peed.
She would always laugh like, she wouldn't make a noise.
She would laugh until she went facial.
Right.
Until her face no longer responded to her will.
I'd luckily forgotten that incident, but thank you for
Well, thank God we haven't told anyone.
No
one will know
it's
now.
a secret. It's a secret.
Oh, my gosh. And that thing we did 2 or 3 weeks ago at a convention, it was 10 seconds. I think it hit 3 million people.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
Interwebbers?
Yeah, it's amazing. The technology.
Yeah, 3.5 million views on
amazing.
Instagram.
That's incredible.
That's what I meant to say.
Those too big of numbers anyway. So
Now, see, and we've said many more words now.
Yeah.
So this will be
everyone
on Earth.
Million or something.
Everyone on Earth will be be invited to this one. Oh, well, on that note. All right, Brendan, how are you doing down there?
I'm doing great, yeah. Let's go back to Goof Troop, because that's the show everyone remembers. Everyone loves Goof Troop. Everyone grew up in the 90s, including myself. Bill, take us back to when you first got the gig at Goof Troop. How was the show first pitched to you, and how excited were you to finally get to work in tandem with Jim on this show, Goof Troop?
Oh, you must have been incredibly excited.
I was totally amazed. I forgot how I even heard about it, that they were planning a show, and there was little rumors of it for a while. And then, just through my agent, hey, there's a series, and you're going to be, in this series called Goof Troop, and Goofy's going to have a son. And, oh, okay. And you just kind of go dumb-faced into this thing. Well, what's it like? And as I say, it was terrifying for me when I come in here and see the best voice actors in the whole business in the same cast. Frank Welker, who's, a kind of a voiceover god, really, with all of the animals and sound effects that he does, and Jim and Rob Paulson. It was also flying by the seat of your pants, because we didn't get a rehearsal, we didn't get a table read. We just, here, do it. And it was done kind of scene at a time, and so you got to keep up with everything, and in the back of your mind that if you screw up a line, everyone has to start over, so you don't want to be the person screwing up a scene. And we would do an entire episode in about 2.5, 3 hours, something like that, and it was kind of controlled terror.
Yeah.
But it became very popular, and it still holds up on, like Disney Plus and everything. It was, it was absolutely a fantastic time. I thought that, maybe I will stay in Hollywood, because my wife was still in Dallas about when that came out, and it had been going for a few months, and I said, maybe this is going to turn into something. So she came out, moved out to California, and I kind of got off the road doing stand-up, because Disney would call me, and they'd say, we need you for a Goof Troop this Friday. And I'm saying, well, I'm in Seattle, I'm doing stand-up. I need, can we do it next week? And then they said, well, if you can't be available, we might have to get someone else. And I said, I'll quit. Off the road. And from that time forward, it was just voiceover. So it changed my life and the path of my career.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
How important do you think the show Goof Troop was to the longevity of the Goofy character? Because before then, he's getting his own show there. Before then, though, he was sort of like a sidekick character, but now he's the main star. And I think because of Goof Troop, people are still talking about Goofy to this day.
That was the first time I think any of the, they had DuckTales before that, but not too many of the characters. It really led into a Goofy movie, which of all the things I've ever done, more people at Comic-Cons talk about. And it started as a Goof Troop movie, They did a DuckTales movie based on the DuckTales TV series. But then they wanted to do a Goof Troop movie. But then later on, it kind of evolved into the father-son thing. And to this day, I mean, without fail, at Comic-Cons, people say, thanks for my childhood.
Oh, sure,
that movie brought me and my dad together. We didn't really see eye to eye, and I kind of saw things from a different light. And now, it's been 28 years since that movie came out, people will say, you know, I used to identify with Max, and now I got kids, I identified with Goofy's point of view. And so, yeah, it's a big circle of life.
Yes. That's a separate movie. That was Lion King.
That was, oh yes, that was, yes. That was, yeah, Goof Troops kind of started it all, and that's right when Disney was starting the Disney Channel, and so they were starting to do the Disney Afternoon and add series and stuff, and so Goof Troop was a good addition to that, and kind of, that started off kind of the regular working for Disney, and it's really never slowed down to this day.
Well, knock on wood for
Yes.
that one.
Yes.
Do you know what the original Goof Troop movie was going to be about before it became a father and son project?
We actually recorded at least one session of a Goof Troop movie. I don't remember the actual the plot. I think it was just kind of an extended version of Goof Troop, and that was usually because, you know, Goofy lives next to Pete, and their adventures together, and Goofy messing it up. So it was kind of along that lines of the series. But then they took a right turn and did the father-son thing in a Goofy movie, and that really struck a chord with America, I think.
Follow the Open Road, right?
Yeah, some songs, got to sing. Didn't get
Yeah.
to sing in Goof Troop. Got
Yeah.
to sing that. I'm going to be singing that song on the Disney cruise ship with my son, filling in for Max in about 2 months. And that's going to be an exciting thing. So
That's great.
all that's old is new again.
Wow. Well, I want to do a cruise ship. I want to go. All right. You can make that happen,
yeah,
right?
we can do that. Yeah.
You got juice.
Oh, yeah, I don't get juice anymore because I spill it. On the
Yeah.
floor.
Well, you're not brainy.
That's true.
You know.
That's true.
He's not intelligent-y. He's goofy. Oh, yeah. Well, that's great. So I'm trying to think. When he can't be the oldest Disney character, but he's got to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
As far
well,
as
I mean, from the time they were invented, Goofy
Yeah.
was invented in 1932. Pluto, who I've been voicing just as
Sure.
long, is actually older, 1930.
Yeah.
Pete's even older. He did some of the Alice comedies in the
Yes.
silent days.
Yes, and Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie. So, yeah. So these characters, and there's no other characters like that, the Disney characters, because what other character has been around that long and is still on TV? Or people always say, well, wouldn't you rather do a lot of on-camera acting? And I've done some movies and stuff, but no, who else is on television from 1987 till today and on every day? You know, you got to thank your lucky stars
Simpsons.
for that kind of thing.
I don't know. Could that be?
I see an old movie where I'm
damn
on camera
Simpsons.
and...
Oh, sure. Well, I
oh, my
remember.
God,
I was going to
yeah.
ask you about that.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, citizen.
Yes.
You are under arrest.
Yeah, RoboCop.
RoboCop. How about that?
That was actually predates Goofy. That was actually
Yes.
back in my Dallas days. And yeah, when I see that, I look, God, I'm old.
Yeah.
But Goofy sounds the same. That's the great
Yeah,
thing about
that's true.
voiceover. Voice doesn't change that much.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because if somebody told me, of course I'm a voice guy, but if somebody just introduced me to you and I didn't know who you were or what you did, I would end up like in 5 minutes go, you know who you sound like? Because that's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
that's kind
really
of cool.
an extension of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actually was kind of
I
a
wonder,
Goofy movie.
is Goofy from Pratt, Kansas, by any chance?
There's a good question. You know, from a Goofy movie, if you look at the map that they show, he started in Ohio. That's my only clue. There's no, you know, they don't, oh, Goofy was born in, you know, Hastings, Montana or something like that. No, there's no origin story that I've been able to find where Goofy's supposed to have come from. Although people that do the voice, they will tend to make him more country. They'll kind of put him down there. Well, be there. How are you? You know,
Yeah,
they'll put
yeah.
a southern accent on it where I don't. I kind of use Midwest, kind of more my
Yeah,
accent.
that's right.
When you say other people who played Goofy, who are you referring to? Like
Oh, well,
for-
Pinto Colvig was the original voice from 1932 till he passed away in the late 60s. Then it was kind of Goofy du jour for about 20 years. A lot of people, but there weren't really official voices. Hal Smith, who played on Andy Griffith as Otis the Drunk,
Yeah.
he did it in, I think, the Christmas Carol, Mickey's Christmas Carol. And then Tony Pope did it in, like, the Olympic. They did some cartoons on the Olympics in the early or mid-'80s. And but since 1987, I've been the only voice. So
You're the only one.
that's still alive. And
Yeah.
I'm getting older all the time.
Well, that beats. Well, I'd rather have a mess of birthdays than one funeral.
Yes.
So see,
Words to live by or die by. But
words to not die by. Not quite the same as living, but yes.
Getting back to origin stories, Bill, do you still believe that Jessica Rabbit is the mother of Max?
No, that's my theory. There has never been one mention of who Goofy was married to or where Max came from. And so just at Comic-Cons, people had always asked me, who's Max's mother? And I said, well, my line was that I think it was Jessica Rabbit before Roger, because she actually mentions, you're better than Goofy. So there must have been some kind of thing going on in the Roger Rabbit movie. He's goofy, he's not stupid. So he would pick a hot date.
Wow. Yes, that would do it. Wow.
It's as good as any other theory I've heard.
I like it. Well, wow. Well, you lie and I'll swear to it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and I could see why Jessica might leave Goofy after a while. He
Yeah, but
could drop her off at the mall and forget to pick her up for a few years. That's
oof. Yeah, but that's a good way to go. I could see the two of them together. He makes me laugh. Right? Wasn't that the
and
line?
we don't know the origin story or the continuing story. Well, in Goof Troop, Peg was Pete's wife.
Pete's wife, yeah.
Where'd she go?
Yeah,
Pistol, Waffles, his dog and cat and all of that. Where did they go? We don't know.
Well,
we could write a new movie.
Frank is still there, Frank Welker, but I don't know. And Nancy Cartwright.
Oh, yeah. She did well, too.
Bart Simpson was my son. No, wait. No, Pistol. She was a girl.
His daughter,
Never mind.
yeah.
Yeah, see, most young boys in cartoons are women.
Right.
So
Bart Simpson, a great example of that.
There you are now. Yeah, like the number one.
And that was Goof Troop before or about the same time as The Simpsons.
Oh, boy. I don't know.
I don't know if she was
What do you
doing
think,
Goof
Brendan?
Troop before or after she got the role of Bart Simpson. So I'm
Brendan
not
definitely
really
knows the
sure.
answer to this.
So she got the role of Bart in 1987.
Well, that's when, Goof Troop actually started
Wow.
recording around 89, I think, or something like that. So, yeah,
Well, the world will tell us soon.
yeah.
Did you ask the question when they were making a Goofy movie? Did you ask the question, where is Peg and where is Pistol? Did you ask the question at the time, or was it just, oh, well, they're gone?
Yeah, we don't know where they went.
That's true. I miss them terribly.
And then he changed careers, too.
Did you ask the question to the directors?
No, an interesting thing that they are doing now is, and I saw a screening of it, it's a preliminary screening it's a making of a Goofy movie. I did not realize when we were doing that they were filming me. And I had no idea. And that they have the live action actors for the eye-to-eye dance. And
Oh, I love those.
yeah, and a lot of stuff that Kevin Lima, the director, kept over the years, and they're in the process of making a documentary on that. So hopefully someday
rightly
it will
so.
come to light on probably Disney Plus, I would imagine.
Yeah. That sounds good. Well, write letters or do whatever.
Yeah,
Write emails.
and it's amazing that this long after the movie, it's still as popular as it is. Last year we went up to Indianapolis to the Funko place,
yes.
and
Do
they
people
have
know what that is, the Funkos?
the little I sign a lot of those at Comic-Con.
They call them Pops or Funkos, right?
Yeah, and
Little
they
figurines.
have a Goofy movie board game that they came out with last year,
Oh, wow.
and it's a big seller, and I'll sign those from time to time. And so only 28 years after the movie, so they got around to it.
Wow. I signed something like that.
It probably, a Goofy movie board game.
Yeah, but this one was really old. Did you see that? Yeah, it was kind of the map from the movie. Remember where they
There
follow
is
the open road?
There is. I've signed the map from the movie. That is a thing that people bring up.
You know what? That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was, but it was hard. It was like a Monopoly board. That
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because one of us. Yeah. I think you signed it first. And
Yeah, and that's kind of an article that a lot of people will get. Sometimes it's in a poster kind of thing, or an 8x10, or a puzzle thing. I think you can put together.
Yeah.
These kids wear
a lot of
Nebraska is.
memorabilia. And my favorite thing though, and I just, it's so sweet. And then you stop and look at the person. But you go to these conventions, you go to Disneyland, wherever you would go, and they sell the traditional old school Goofy hat.
Yeah.
The green hat, and they've got these two
big, long ears
with the big
and
long
stuff.
ears. And you see people coming around, and I'm thinking, man, you're looking good. You're a true fan. you
Yeah,
know?
there are some amazing fans at the Comic-Cons that will come up, and they know more. I had one guy say, on the third episode of Goof Troop, you had a dinosaur egg and you put it in the front closet. Why did you put it in the front closet? I go, I don't know where my wallet is.
That's
I don't remember what it
it's
is.
a logical place to put a dinosaur egg.
Yeah, where would you put it? In the garage? I don't know. But
Yeah, no, I think the front closet. It's
that's
clear.
for
I
dinosaur
mean,
eggs. Yeah.
that's an easy one. Wow. Oh,
But you
God.
never know what people are going to ask.
Yeah, and I was going to say, what is like is there one of the most embarrassing questions or interesting questions that you get asked? Because boy, we get them.
Oh yes, we do. I'm trying to think of some embarrassing things.
Did you do this in school? What school did you go to?
Yeah.
And I
Did
go,
you get in trouble? Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
kind of have ADD, and I spent
Yeah.
all sixth grade in the coat closet with a detention.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, same here.
Yeah, I was not your typical kid.
No. Well, that's why you're not a typical adult, and I guess I'm not either. But
I was right for this job.
Yeah,
Thank
it was
goodness.
perfect.
What would I do without this?
Yeah. Well, I've told it before. I don't want to bore anybody, but I remember when I was 5 years old, and we were watching Jack Benny, and Mel Blanc was a guest on there, and he was Cy from Mexico. And my dad goes, "You see this bastard?" And I said, "Which one?" He goes, "The guy talking funny." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "His name's Mel Blanc. Now, when you get up on Saturday morning and you see this show and that Bugs Bunny and a Daffy Duck," yeah. He goes, "He's doing all the voices." And the first thing I thought of, he doesn't have to stand in the corner because he does funny voices. They're paying him.
We have to.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that then. And I was 5.
Really? That
Yeah, I was
early?
5
I had
years
no
old.
idea. This
Yeah.
just started as a joke kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, fraternity things, they'd have a band break and they'd, "Farmer, get up and do something." So I started
Yeah.
writing material and
Nice.
just developing some characters. And then I did radio for a number of years
Mm-hmm.
as a DJ and developed characters. And I'd bring in all those old Western things like Pat Buttram or something like that. And I'd bring him
yeah.
on. "Bill, it's great to be on your show." "Hey, Pat, what's going on?"
That sounds
"Okay,
great,
let's
yeah.
do the weather." "Well, now it's going to be cloudy." And just play with those
Yeah.
characters. And you develop a little repertoire of those. And that turned into the stand-up, and then it turned into a Disney job.
Yeah, wow, that worked. Yeah, I got to meet Pat Buttram. I was very happy about that.
I did on a Goofy movie.
Oh, yeah?
And
that's good.
We were about an hour. He was going in to do
They
his
sound like
scene.
they'd be cousins.
Yeah.
Sort of. Maybe not brothers, but easily cousins.
In the movie, he had like one line. He hits the stage with the Lester's Possum. "Here it is, and welcome to Lester's Possum Park. Here it is."
Yes.
That was
I
about his
remember
only
that.
line.
Yes.
And
Lester's
what a great guy. He was still trying out material on me.
Yeah.
And he was going to do that night, and this was shortly before he passed away. He was going to do a tribute to Jack Palance. He was going to do a roast, and if you remember Jack Palance from what was it with?
Oh, yeah.
He's been in a lot of westerns and kind of a tough guy. And Pat said, "I'm going to go out there and say, Pat, it's amazing that you was out there on the Oscars and you was doing one-arm push-ups, and Father Time has been very kind to you. but it looks like Mother Nature done kicked the hell out of your face.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
he was trying out material on me that day
Oh,
in
man.
the waiting room.
Yeah.
So never quit.
Oh, that. Yeah.
then-
No kidding. Yeah. I got to work with him on Roger Rabbit, and he said, "Do you know what 'give me 6 good men in a buckboard' means?" And I said, "No." He goes, "I don't either. Gene Autry made me say that in about 15 goddamn movies." And I said, "Oh, yeah." And he said, "And then I was over there at the Sportsman's Lodge the other day, and I was fixing to meet him, and I says to the bartender, 'So where's Gene Autry anyway?' And he says, 'You're standing on him.'" So that's my story.
Yeah, he was a great guy. I understand he lost like a finger and an eye in a cannon explosion, and Gene Autry said, "Don't sue me, and I'll take care of you forever."
Wow.
Well, I don't know if that's true, but I'd heard that story. So
He said, "Okay, I want to play for the Angels. I want
yeah,
to pitch."
that would have been
He said, "Okay,
maybe
I
not
can't-
that, but
Okay, I can't quite do that one." Now, Brent, do you know who Gene Autry is, coming from
Yeah.
down under?
We are still part of the world, so we are aware of
I know,
famous
but
people.
but
It's
see,
down
he's
there.
been gone for it's like almost asking for a silent movie star.
yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
in the 50s.
it wasn't exactly yesterday, so you're forgiven either way. But good for you.
He was like, didn't he own like the Dodgers at one time?
Yeah, I
he
think-
owned the
I think-
Dodgers and
No, Anaheim Angels,
Anaheim Angels. Yes.
which is not a football team. What was it in the movie Stand By Me? Stephen King.
Yeah.
Speaking of Disney,
Yeah, people bring that one up.
you
too.
know, do you know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah, where they say, "Why can Goofy talk and Pluto can't?"
Yes.
My original line was, "Well, Goofy's got a better agent," but no, I've got the same agent, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
It's just,
right. That's right.
Goofy gets more, I guess. So, and I always say that no, Goofy is not a dog. Some people think he's a cow. I don't know why. There's
cow?
this thing. People are, is Goofy a cow? No, maybe because he and Clarabelle had a kind of a little thing going in
That's
Three
true.
Musketeers. But no, he's not a cow, and he's not technically a dog. He's a canine. Like a wolf is not a dog, but it's a canine. So it's Canis goofus, I think, is the scientific
Goofus
name.
Maximus.
Goofus maximus. And
Wow.
Pluto is a dog, and whoa! And
That's
so,
a dog, see?
Yeah, and we always say Pluto for the last when we're doing a session.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do a lot of that, and it's like a video game. You're talking like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know the feeling. Well, now, okay, so Stand By Me, that was the bit from there. There was something else that they were referencing, the dichotomy of Goofy owning pets.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you gotta,
But then ultimately, it's a cartoon.
yeah.
It's a drawing. You know, what is he?
Yes.
Is he a cow, a dog? No, he's a drawing. So
Yeah, he's
that's
a drawing.
basically it.
And he
When
has
you
a
get down to it.
And he has a cow for a girlfriend.
Yes, there we go. This
It's
is
a
a happy
natural-
universe they live
Natural
in.
progression. And I love that because if I'm not mistaken, that's what I was thinking. April Winchell,
Yeah.
the great, she was Clarabelle.
Yeah.
And then in Goof Troop, she was my wife, Peg.
Okay. Yeah. See, you have all of these different roles you can play, and
Yes.
she's still. I saw her just the other day. We were doing. I actually went into a studio during COVID. I started doing all my stuff at home in my home studio.
Sure,
And
yeah.
My son's an audio engineer, so he runs the sessions. But the other day, since they're doing some construction at my house, I went into the studio, and April was there. I haven't seen her in years in the flesh,
Oh.
and it was. But she's still doing Clarabelle. Mm-hmm. So these are long-running jobs.
Yes, yes. Well, she's been my wife in a few shows, and her name is always Peg. And now my wife is named Margaret, which nickname is
Is
Peg,
Peg.
Christopher's mom.
That's yeah. Prophetic.
Yes, or
prophetic.
something like that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I. No, there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not. But I'm not going to go.
Not going to go for that.
Not going to excavate it at this particular time, right, Brendan? So, what time is it there Australia?
It is currently 9 a.m. in the morning, so I had to get my parents to come pick up my children and take them to school, which my kids weren't appreciative of, but they wanted Daddy to take them. But I'm here with Bill Farmer and Jim Cummings, so I'm happy, at least.
Yeah.
There we go.
Are you in Sydney or Melbourne or?
I'm in a town called Geelong, which is about a 40-minute drive down from Melbourne. So if you've been to Melbourne,
Okay.
it's 40 minutes from
I'm
there.
going to be down there in July at a Comic-Con. So, yes, and I've been to Australia. I have a lot of friends down there, and this will be my 10th time, I think.
No
Australia.
kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you win. Well, I want to go. Can
Why
make
aren't you
that
coming,
happen,
Jim?
Brendan?
You came
I
last
don't
year.
know.
Why are
It's-
you coming back?
I don't know. We're not waiting on me.
What was that one called? That's like the
Let's
Aussie
make it
tour.
happen.
Oh, yeah. They always like book it. Usually, this is just to see some friends, really, and they're running a con down there. But usually it's, 2 weekends generally was, I did in New Zealand with the same company, and we did Christchurch and then Wellington a week later. So we got to drive around the South Island, which is beautiful. And I love when we get a little week off between gigs. Perth is as far as I've gone in Australia. That's a way over there. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to going back.
Try the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah,
That's
and the
I saw-
kangaroo.
Yeah, try the row. Yeah, I had to just very briefly. We had occasion to be down under, and we went to a zoo, and Chris will verify this. We saw a Tasmanian devil, and he turned and ran, and he went, and I went, oh, come on. I mean, he sounded, I didn't realize, because I'm really just doing Mel Blanc. He's the original, God rest his soul. But it sounded just like it. The actual Tasmanian devil sounded like the cartoon. I was waiting
So
for
it was pretty accurate. I had no idea.
Me in the cocoa ground.
He didn't say that. But if he did, I wouldn't have been surprised. Oh, man, I love it. But I do love guacas. I can't believe we're on this subject. Do you know what a guaca is?
I think I did, but I can't remember what is it.
The happiest little rodent you could have ever seen.
Okay.
Brennan, what can we look? He knows.
Quokka with a Q.
Quokka.
Oh, well, that's why I
Oh
did.
yeah,
I still don't know
guaca. I'm
what
thinking
it
of mole. Quokka. Yes. Quaca. Ka.
Well,
Qua.
yeah, all the animals down there. Will
Okay,
kill
everybody,
you.
that's your assignment. Look up and just start loving on them.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, it's too amazing.
We've had a lot of our friends
Look, you've
come
got a
over.
pet, don't you?
I do, but in Australia, you'll find the animals, they'll either be your best friend or they'll try and eat you.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
true. We had a young boy that came to our from Australia come to our house, and he came in running. He was so excited. Mother, I can't believe what I saw. I saw a squirrel. And
Wow.
okay, I said, don't you have squirrels in Australia? She said, no, we just have dumb old roos.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and they could kick your butt.
Yes,
to
they
a
can.
pea.
They're
That-
bigger than you think.
Yeah, they sure are. Oh man, that's ridiculous.
And they
So-
eat them. They eat kangaroos in
Yes.
Australia.
Yeah.
I had no
I saw it
idea.
in dog food. I saw it at restaurants. So I don't know what that says, but I've seen it all. You can see it at the grocery store. Oh, kangaroo meat. Okay.
It says we have too many of them. That's the problem.
They are. They're all over the place. I saw a lot of them there.
Yeah.
I always thought that was like their national animal. Like,
I think
that
it
would,
is.
That would
I
be like
think it's
us
the only
eating an
pla-
eagle.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, we
eating
can't
eagle
eat an
eggs
eagle.
or something.
Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, what is your national animal? Now that we're on this riveting
I
subject,
think it is the kangaroo.
it is kangaroo, right?
Yeah. it's kangaroo and emu.
And
an
emu.
emu.
And koala, I guess.
Ooh,
The
that's good
emu.
eating.
Well, emu is a bird. Maybe that's more likely to taste better. I don't
Yeah.
know. So.
I've had ostrich. I really have.
I did try kangaroo at a restaurant. It's a little tough, a little
Yeah.
gamey, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't the best I've ever had, but
Tune it again
a good
next time.
sirloin, I think, would beat it. But
Yes. Oh God. Yeah. Phew. Well, I've had French fried ants. I can't believe we're on this subject, but that's pretty good.
ants,
Ants, French fry, and they turn into peanuts.
they're crunchy.
Yeah. And I've eaten zebra.
Really?
I have not
Yeah.
eaten zebra. No,
Zebra's
that's
not bad.
That's on the to-do list, I guess.
Yes.
So.
And in certain parts of Texas, you can get rattlesnake in a can, like tuna fish.
Really?
Yes. Might not be rattlesnake. Might be just snake. But it's snake.
How would you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You rattle the can and you find out.
Yeah. But oh my God. Well, that's insane.
Did you have a question, Brendan? I thought I heard you starting up a question.
I was going to ask just about Goofy earlier. We were talking about Goof Troop, and I feel like Goofy in a Goof Troop was such a different setting for the character. The character felt fresh and new again. Do you feel like Goofy has evolved since then, or has Goofy evolved over the years? Do you think, or?
Oh, absolutely. Goof Troop was kind of what I call a Saturday morning type of show. It was high energy, and if you think of the way that Pinto Colvig used to do the voice, it was kind of guttural. And, oh, the world owes me a livin', and it's kind of in the back. In Goof Troop, I had to kind of do it up the front of the lips, and, gosh, oh, the world owes me a livin'. And they've kind of kept that way, I guess, for articulation. And in a Goofy movie, I mean, that was hard for me because he'd never had to be a kind of a worried father, and his kid's going to, go to prison and be in the electric chair and all of this kind of worry stuff. He's always been happy-go-lucky in Goof Troop. So that was a stretch to find the softer side and the, sentimental side of Goofy and the fatherly love kind of thing. So I just kind of thought of my son, and it came.
There you go.
What were your first thoughts on the new vision for Goofy when they first pitched
probably
Goof Troop
the
to
Mickey
you?
Mouse
Because you'd obviously been playing Goofy for a while. Up to
I
that
love
point. Now
doing
it's,
it.
oh, here he is, the new and improved Goofy.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different universe, and I think he's more dressed like he originally was in 1932. So I think of him more as Dippy Dog, which was his original name, than Goofy, because we were able to do stuff in the shorts that we could never do on the traditional, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse kind of thing. And I mean, I remember once where, like there was one called Dog Show where Goofy and Pluto were going to go to a dog show, and Mickey puts Goofy in so he could win something.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's one scene where Goofy is scooting across his butt on the carpet. And I saw that. Okay, that's different. That's new. We've never been able to do that. There was one where Goofy was a zombie, and I said, okay, that's
that was
different.
really different.
And
They've got
yet
that
they're
one up
very
over on the
funny.
lot.
They're very funny. I love some of those.
Yeah, I love doing all those.
Yeah,
Those were
the
great.
scripts were great, and they're just more adult. Whereas you do the ones for the 5 and under, the little kids and stuff. It can be a little not repetitive, but I mean it's soft. It's not adult enough for what I would like. And so, but some of the Mickey shorts are just genuinely hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day. When was the day? I keep forgetting. I think it was the 40s.
The 1930s, and some of the books, I've done some books from then, and they were tougher characters. They were they had more attitude. And,
yeah, Mickey sure did.
Yeah, and Wayne always lamented the fact, he said, Mickey's too bland. He says, I wish I had more lines that were have more meat on them. And luckily, he would have loved the shorts, I think.
Yes, he would. God bless him. And I think he was the longest running Mickey.
Yeah, he started
30-something.
he did it a few times before. He did it in Mickey's Christmas Carol in '83. He did the Mickey Mouse Club
Right.
in '77 was the first time that he did that, and then he died in 2009. So that's, it's 22 years, 22 years, and well, no longer than that, wasn't it? Or was it whatever, 32? I don't know.
And so, and I'm sorry, how many years is it for you doing being Goofy?
This January will be completing 38 years.
Yeah, there you go. Wow.
So, and it's going to
See,
be a
that's
career if
nice.
I don't watch it.
That's right. Yeah.
don't
Next thing you know.
Trip over microphone cable. Wow! I got the sound effects ready.
Yeah. And is there anything coming up that we should know about? Any particular projects that you have, or?
Well, we I don't know what you can talk about of upcoming series that we're in and stuff. I never know. I know I've got a cruise to go on in the summer and a couple of boat things and some more Comic-Cons coming up.
Gotta love that.
We're doing a series now, which I don't know if it, and we're getting calls. I know a call was coming in. Maybe that's a new job.
Maybe that.
But
So,
you never know. I don't get my bookings. Usually it's like I'll get next week's booking, like today or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's about all the lead time I ever get. So it's just, okay, something will come.
Yeah, sure, sure.
I never know.
Yeah,
what it is.
same here. Yeah, unless it's Comic-Cons. Is there any Comic-Con we should be on the lookout for? Would that be
There
worth mentioning?
probably is, and can I remember them now? I'd
Yeah,
have to
right
get
there you
my-
go. Okay,
yeah.
just checking. Just checking. That's right. Wow,
I'm
man.
doing, next weekend I'm doing one, actually. I think it's SAC Anime in Sacramento.
Oh, yes.
And that's the next
That's
one
a
I'm
nice
doing. And after that, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think I'm going there. Am I? I think I've got that written down.
yeah.
I've done that before. Yeah,
will be-
anime, which
Yeah.
is an interesting. It's a whole nother world to me, but it's very popular.
Yeah. The closest we've come as goofy characters, and Disney characters is probably Kingdom Hearts video game,
Yeah.
which is intensely popular. And the longest running series I found of anything that we've done. 2002 is when the first one came out. And they're getting ready for number 4. So that'll be coming up someday.
Wow. Well, buy too many of them.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't get royalties. Never mind.
No, not from the games.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh, we'll have to fix that. That's worth a strike.
Yes, it is.
Oh man.
Should we play a game of voice swap, Chris? Do you think?
Yes, read my mind.
Yes.
We do a character voice swap with all the guests that come on the show. So
Oh, wow.
Jim will feed you one of his popular characters' lines, and then you'll say them in one of your popular characters' voices.
Oh,
and then
okay.
vice versa. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, it might be an impression, but yeah, I can. Okay. we can do
Okay.
that.
Well, let me see. What should I come up with? I got to think of a really good one here. Well, if you got one, go ahead.
Let's
Like
see.
a goofism. I'll come up with a Peteism.
Gosh, Pete, what's going on?
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, here's one. Now, PJ, Daddy can't miss you if you don't go away.
Well, son, now Daddy can't miss you if you don't go away.
Goofy would never say that. And my line is,
From a Goofy movie.
sure.
How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?
How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon? Ooh, that hurts. Oh, man. Oh, God. Do we have another one?
Yeah, we got to do a poo one.
We got to do a
I feel like we need to hear Winnie the Pooh say that line as well, right?
All righty. Well, how many cups of honey does it take to get to the moon?
I've done
It sounds like a
not a
sticky
Disney
problem.
one, but I could do that as Sylvester.
Oh, there you
know.
go.
How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?
Well, Brendan, what's the answer?
3.5 is what Max said.
I don't know.
How
I
many
don't drink
cups of
coffee. I'm a
sugar?
weirdo down here.
How many cups of coffee does it take to bounce to the moon? Oh, my God. Okay, stop us before we kill again.
How about one more? What's a good character? I feel like we always do Pooh and Tigger. Darkwing. Darkwing doesn't get his play as much.
Yeah.
I am the terror that flaps in the night, the winged scourge that pecks at your nightmares. I am Darkwing Duck.
I could do that as Foghorn.
Oh, yeah.
Let me
Oh,
see.
yes.
Let's see. I'm the terror that squawks in the night. It wasn't squawk. I say, boy, was it squawk?
Close enough.
I'm Darkwing Duck.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Foghorn. He is one of my all-time favorite
Mine
characters.
too. Of the Looney Tunes, yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, he's second favorite because Taz.
Yeah, well, you get a paycheck from that.
I got to, yeah, got to keep watering that plant. Don't want to mess that up. Well, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I saw Bill on your IMDb. You've played George Bush a couple times.
Well, this is George Bush Sr. I've done a lot of the presidents over the years. Actually, probably the most, this is embarrassing to even mention. One of the first things I ever did, I needed the money, and there was a guy that looked like Gorbachev, and he was doing a music video called Gorby and the Red Hots, and they needed Reagan. And so, well, I went in and auditioned, and they said, yeah, it's great, but you won't talk. And I'm, well,
Okay.
maybe prosthetics, that might be interesting. Anyway, I did this 3 days, and it was the most horrible thing that I ever did. I worked, my co-star was a poster girl, Angeline. And
Oh, sure.
if you remember
Sure.
Angeline,
Yeah,
look her up.
I
She's
understand she rocks.
She, up close, it's scary because she was old even then, and this is in the late 80s. And I had to hold her leg looking lasciviously as they were singing this song as Gorby and the Red Hots. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is showbiz, eh? Okay, well, this is
What
gonna,
and give up
this, I won't
showbiz?
be here that long. And the production company, the guys funding this thing, skipped out of town, stiffed the production company for about $200,000. There's not a frame of that movie in existence. You cannot find it.
But
Thank
you have,
God.
But you have an amazing, wonderful
A
memory.
good story. They had all of the. They had a guy on a ball that smashed through the Berlin Wall that they had. 35 millimeter. It was a big production, and they just skipped out of town because it was so horrible.
Wow.
And that was the first year I was out here. So I said, well, hopefully something will happen. And then the goofy thing did.
Yeah. Well, that seemed to have worked out for you.
Yes, you got to go through a lot of stuff before you get the good
Ooh,
stuff.
wow, there you go. Well, that's wonderful. But not necessarily for you, because once you switched over to voiceover, you were cranking it.
Yeah, it finally hit. That was 12 years after college. And so students that I talk to all the time, they say, what do you need to be a voice actor? And I say, get rich parents.
Yeah, that's
That
good
helps,
advice.
especially the first few years. You're going to need another job.
Yeah.
So don't leave Nebraska and come out here hoping to be a big star. It's few and far between. And
But if you're good at parking cars,
that's always a good skill.
that's always, or like, taking orders at Denny's.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a tough business. It really is if you think about the number of, and there's still a lot of rejection. I mean, all the time I'm doing auditions and I never hear anything. And the lucky ones that hit, you're very thankful for.
Yeah. Well, the great Gordon Hunt, he was the voice director at Hanna-Barbera forever and a day.
Yeah.
And also Helen Hunt, the amazing actress'
yeah.
dad. He wrote a book called How to Break into Show Business. And it had dancers, it had jugglers, it had musicians, it had actors, actresses, of course. And then one of the chapters was how to break into voiceover. Don't bother.
Really?
I kid you not. This is wrapped up by about 4 or 5, maybe 6 people in Hollywood, and they're already there and you're not. So forget that. Okay, next. And it was, and I was thinking, and of course I was already working.
Yeah.
When I met him, because otherwise I would have never heard the book. And I'm thinking, I can't thank you enough for giving me this book after I've already worked for you.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, I wouldn't have bothered. If I'd known how hard it was, I probably wouldn't have bothered. But it's the best lesson I ever learned. I took classes from Dawes Butler, speaking of Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, sure.
And he
Now, does everybody know who Dawes
Yogi
is?
Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Snagglepuss, all of the big Hanna-Barbera were probably
Quick Draw
voiced.
McGraw.
And Quick Draw McGraw and Captain Crunch, all hundreds of them. And he was the thing that it's not voice acting, it's voice acting. The acting is more important than the voice. The voice will come. You can find a voice for something, but if you can't act, don't bother.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
That's what separates the great from the imitators.
The Midland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any nuggets of wisdom to?
Well, that's the first thing.
that's 'cause
is
that's pretty good.
Take acting. My best training was stand-up because you get
Sure.
a lot of honesty. If you suck, they'll let you know real quick.
Yeah.
You can tell how you're doing with a live audience. So any kind of live performance where you're on a stage, you get feedback from the audience. You learn how to say a line, which is important in the booth because you just get a script. Say it, make it funny, and you got to do that. So you have to have those acting chops. So take acting lessons is the most important part.
So, Bill, what would be your thoughts then on now? It feels like it's even harder for someone to break into voice acting because it seems like a lot of A-list actors are getting the voice acting spots as opposed to genuine voice actors. So what's your thoughts on actors now, A-list celebrities getting all the voice roles, it seems, these days?
Some are great, some are not. I mean, Tom Hanks as Woody, great choice. It fit the character. He is a great actor, and he's just got that voice that worked with that character. I always say to my students that, like, as they say, a camera adds 10 pounds. I'm really not this fat. But a microphone takes off 10 pounds or 10%
There you
of your
go.
energy. So you got to find that amount of exaggeration that you put in the voice, but it's got to be backed up by emotion. So the emotion has to push the words off the page. Once you get that, yeah, you're kind of right in the ballpark. That's why it's very similar to stage acting. You got to play to the back of the audience, the bigger, grander gestures.
Yeah, hit the back of
voice
the-
is a
the
little
balcony.
bit brighter and stuff. That's kind of what animation is.
Yeah.
On camera, hey, camera's right there in front of you. You can be a little bit more subtle and get it across. That's why a lot of film actors have trouble doing voiceovers, because they're acting. The eyes,
Oh,
the
yes.
stuff like, and that doesn't translate if
Yeah,
there's
it
no
does
camera.
not. Yeah, somebody sits there and goes for 5 minutes. And
Yeah,
then you go,
that doesn't play.
Yeah. Oh God, that is so true. And I've often said too that if you're way too much, you're probably right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
it's
overdo
it's
it.
Over as
Yeah.
Just as long as the emotions making it
Yeah.
feel real.
And as long it's easier to push it over the top and pull it back
Yeah.
than get halfway there and try to double your enthusiasm or
Right.
your conviction or fill in the blank. And louder is prouder.
Directors would probably not tell you to go bigger. They might say cut it back a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. It's a more intimate scene or whatever, but rarely would they tell you to make it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, they don't think you can do it or something.
Yeah.
So
And I always say instincts are the best stinks. Which, because which is kind of iffy as an expression, but if it feels good to you and it feels right to you, because I always give them one as written,
Yeah.
and then I always give them one the way it should have been written, which
Yeah.
is my ad lib, and of course I'm kidding. No, I'm not. But just be yourself and be too much. And yeah, I always say instincts are the best stinks. And if you give
Oh.
too much, it's just about right.
that one I learned from you and Goof
Yeah.
Troop, because I'd look at it, "Well, that's not on the script," and something
Yeah.
you do, and then they like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, go with your ideas.
Yeah,
Go with it.
absolutely. And then I've got these little gems, and I'm sure you do too. If you do a perfect impression of somebody that no one knows,
Yeah,
you have a new character.
right.
And if you do a horrible impression of someone famous, they can't even tell who it is. You have a new
That's
character,
a new character.
right?
It's like, yeah, if I was going to do Lucille Ball, she in her later years, she kind of
Yeah.
has a smoker's thing, and it was kind of, so I would probably do it. Oh, Ricky. Oh, and it's like, it doesn't
Yeah,
sound
it
at all
doesn't
like,
sound at
but
all
it's
like
something,
Lucille Ball.
and
Yeah.
it's usable.
Yeah.
So just do the Lucille Ball, and I got that voice.
And then if somebody goes, you're doing it. You're doing it perfectly.
Yeah.
If somebody,
Yeah, bad impression.
Lucy, you got some explaining to do. That's half of the audience out there's going, what's that from?
Yeah, what's that from?
Where'd they get that? Where'd they get that? Oh, man.
A lot of little acting tips we've given.
Yes. We hope you've learned something.
Can I
here
just
today.
ask one final thing? You guys, voice acting legends, you guys raised us, essentially, Chris and I, and you've been in the business for 40 years. You've been getting paid to do voices for 40 plus years, or 38 years, as you said, Bill.
Mm.
Do you still enjoy just doing voices, or does it feel like work?
No, it's always felt like play
Yeah.
to me.
It's never felt like
And
work.
I've always said, if you don't enjoy doing it, why do it? So, life's too short. You should just follow, what you love. All of my hobbies have become my career. Radio, I'd done some radio, when I was a teenager. I got to go out to the local radio station, do something. I thought that was cool. That was fun. I played around with electronics and did kits and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a chief engineer at those radio stations. So I learned about electronics so I wouldn't electrocute myself.
That's always a
stand
good
up. I
thing.
always loved Jack Benny, George Burns, all those guys on TV. I would love to do that. I finally got a chance, and dang it, I'm going to jump off the cliff and try it. And it turned into something. Same with Hollywood. I knew that it was difficult, but I said, yeah, I'm going to kick myself if I don't try.
Sure.
So I came out and see what happened. If it, I wouldn't be any worse off. If it didn't, I'd go back home. But it did. So unless you try.
Yeah.
And I came up with a saying. I said, you can never ensure success in this business, but you can always ensure failure by not trying.
Yeah, yeah. Amen to
Go
that.
out there and try.
Yeah, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Exactly.
Wow. There's a couple Maxims that are out there like that, but that puts it very well.
Yeah, Maxim, that magazine.
That was a different. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I don't trust myself to dive in. Well, Bill, this is so cool, man. Thank you for coming.
It's great. It's great to actually look across and see you at a microphone next to me. It's taken me back to Goof Troop.
Yes, I know.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
And even though I work with you every week,
sort of.
it's fun.
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah, you're in one studio, I'm in another, and they mix it all together and make Disney magic. This is special. This is a lot of fun.
Got one coming up on Friday. So
I think I do too. Yeah, actually, sometimes.
I'll see you around campus.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brendan?
Fantastic. Right, take us out, Chris.
All right.
There we go.
Well, thank you all again for joining us on another episode of Tuned In with Jim Cummings. Today we had Bill Farmer. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to us on all social media. You can get bonus content on our Patreon page. You can get early access there as well. Please check us out. It's been a great time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.